Welcome to M&A Unpacked, the weekly show where we bring on experts in MSP M&A, case studies from those who have gone through or going through the process, and top M&A and business minds to help you maximize the value of your MSP, whether you're buying, selling, or just trying to improve your business. Today, I am absolutely thrilled and honored to have one of the top business minds in any arena or industry, a man who really needs no introduction, the CEO of Kaseya, Mr. Fred Voccola. Fred, thank you so much for being our guest today and sharing your incredible knowledge and experience with the MSP community.
Well, great, Mike. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the overinflated introduction.
No,
We're both, well, you're not a Jersey guy. I'm just a regular Jersey guy. I'm not a great business mind, but super happy to be here, and I love to be helpful any way I can.
awesome. Thrilled to have you here, Fred. I'm going to dive right in. I know you've never run an MSP, but you do run a very successful company that serves 35,000 of them. You're also good friends with one of our senior executives at Kaseya, Frank DeBenedetto, who has run one. And I want to know, how has working with Frank helped shape the genesis of the M&A Concierge Platform for MSPs?
Yeah, so Frank and I grew up in the same town. He went to the wrong high school, of course, so it was always fun beating his high school in every sport. I mean, he watches this, he's good. I hate that. But, you know, Frank had an MSP called Two River Technologies. And when Frank was going through his I'll say journey about should he sell it or should he not, it was interesting to see how Kaseya could help him. And this was just helping a buddy, right? So there was a lot of information, resources, people, things that we as a company and I was able to do, just like helping out a buddy. And after actually in the middle of that journey, I was talking to Gary Pica. So as you know, and most people know, Kaseya bought True Methods about 4.5 years ago. So Gary worked at Kaseya for a while. And Gary's, the godfather of MSPs, as many call him. And so Gary and I were talking, and then Frank and I started talking, and we said, this is M&A is happening so much more in this industry. Now, it's still less than 1% of all MSPs are transacting, but it's M&A activity in the industry has gone up about 500% in the last 5 years. So, it's topical. It's also topical because a large number of MSPs are individually or family owned. And in the next 5 to 7 years, you have a generational transition where the owners want to retire and they want to either sell it or leave it to family or do different things with the business. So it's combined with the private equity investments in our space, there's a lot more buzz around it. And it's a lot of buzz around a topic that a lot of people have no experience in. In this industry, most MSPs are really good engineers, really good security people, really good technicians. Some are really good salespeople and good business owners. But M&A is not a strategic part of what they've done. I've been running software companies for a long time. I've sold and bought companies fairly often. And at Kaseya, we've done about 17 M&A transactions over the years. So it's a part of our strategy. Most MSPs, like Frank, had never bought one, and more importantly, never been bought. And that's a scary process. So in the conversation with Frank, just some of the questions that he had and was reminiscent of someone who's doing this for the first time. And so we said, well, we have a lot of knowledge as Kaseya and as an organization that does M&A. How can we provide that to other Franks, right, to the community? And as we started looking at it, we realized that it wasn't just providing information about what's it like to buy or sell or what do you have to think about. It was really the ability for us to use our data and to use the fact that we are a large organization in the community to bring people together and help facilitate or help eliminate the wasted time that buyers and sellers do, dancing with multiple people before they pick their final dance partner. And that was one of the things that Frank, Frank talked to a large number of potential suitors. And some of them he never should have talked to to begin with. Not that they were bad suitors. they just weren't, they didn't share the same desires that Frank maybe had for his company, or Frank's company wasn't the right profile for those buyers. And a lot of time and effort was spent that didn't need to be done. And that's kind of what we looked at. It was, how do we help all the constituents? Because they're all using our platform or components of our platform. How can we help? How can we use our size and scale to help? And that's what kind of led us to form the M&A Concierge Platform.
So Fred, our CMO, Mike Sanders, called this the golden era for MSPs. Can you talk to me about how you feel M&A plays into that statement?
Yeah, so Mike's comment, the golden era, golden age or golden era of MSPs, it's really twofold. Mike and I joke about this a lot. It's threefold. First, it's a cool marketing thing. So of course our marketing person came up with it to say. But more importantly, the small to mid-sized businesses around the world. And if you're in the UK, I just spoke with one of our UK customers earlier this morning. If you're in the small to mid-sized enterprise market, companies of 1,000 employees or less, which makes up 99% of the customers and 95% of the revenue in the MSP community, they're in the early stages of a digital transformation. And digital transformation meaning technology is essential for everything that their business does. We've seen this kind of transformation before. We saw it in the enterprise, Fortune 1000s. We saw that happen from the early 90s to maybe 2010, 2012, where companies like Caterpillar, Citibank, and HSBC, these huge organizations, went from not having a chief information officer in the early 90s to by 2010, the chief information officer of these companies is probably as, if not more important than the CFO. Don't tell my CFO I said that, but that's the case. So, they digitally transformed. Think about it. We had ERP, we had personal computers. You go back to like 1992, most people in their office did not have a computer at their desk. That was, and then in 1996, the average person had more than one computer in their desk, like 1.1 computers per knowledge worker. So all the productivity, all the gains that came from technology, and that technology in the enterprise became essential. So the IT and security became one of, if not the most important part of the organization to make sure that those applications and technological advances could be used all the time. We're seeing that same type of transformation happening in companies of 10 to 1,000 employees around the world. The technologies and the applications that were once the domain of only the Fortune companies and the enterprise are now accessible for a 10-person company. If you go back to the year 1998, CRM was really hard to do. Siebel Systems was the dominant CRM provider. Salesforce was just starting to come out. There's no cloud delivery of things. And if you wanted to implement any kind of customer relationship marketing application with any kind of horsepower, you're looking at $500,000. Now, CRM is as commoditized as anything. So your local gym has more customer management and customer marketing application capability than the largest banks in the world had in the mid-90s. Customer profiling, email marketing, cross-selling products, point of sale, campaign distribution, all these things. So the difference between Citibank doing that in 1998 and your local, Middletown, New Jersey gym that Frank DeBenedetto goes to, being able to do it, is that Citibank, once they had the application, an army of IT and security people to make that work. The local gym does not. The application's mission critical for that local gym, just like it is for Citibank. But that local gym does not have an IT and security department to make sure that application's always available and always secure. What they do have is their local MSP to make sure that happens. So the MSP has become the most important business partner, the most important vendor for every small to mid-sized business and enterprise in the world. Whereas 20 years ago, they were not. The same way that 20 years ago, the chief information officer was maybe not existent or maybe not that important at a Fortune account. And today, they are probably the second most important person, if not the most important person at any company. So that's happening. And the numbers prove it. The rate of increase in spending and investment in IT and security for small to mid-sized businesses around the world to ensure that those business transforming applications are always available and always secure. That spend is growing at about 5 times global GDP growth. That's an astounding number. And that money goes to MSPs. That's why the MSP industry overall, we believe, grew around 13, 14% in 2023, when you have, we have macroeconomic growth around 3%. So it's a golden age. And it's funny when I talk to MSPs, and as you said, Mike, man, I've never been one, but I do get to talk to hundreds and hundreds of them, if not thousands on a yearly basis. It's cool. It's actually super cool. Small business owners or small private equity owned MSPs, even the large MSPs are still 1,000 employees or less. So it's not like we're talking to giant enterprises. So business is still personal in a way for our customers, which makes my job super cool. But one of the things that we'll hear is how competitive and how hard it is to be an MSP. And that's true. It's not easy. But I always like to bring the point back. The average MSP is growing. The average Kaseya MSP grew about 15% last year. Show me a business that has 15% growth. An average MSP is doing about 15 to 18% profit margin. Any restaurant owner would kill for that. Any gym owner would kill for that. Doctor or lawyer would kill for that. So while it's competitive and hard, we're in a great market, and it's only going to grow. And that's where I think Mike is coming with his golden age coming. Now, another part to this, and this is a bit of Kaseya marketing. So, Mike, I apologize for the commercial, but
please,
we have our conference coming up, our big global conference in Vegas. I believe it's like April 29th to May 2nd or May 3rd. It's called Connect Global. We're making an announcement there, which we think is going to rock this industry in a very positive way and will hopefully allow these MSPs to further unlock their potential and unlock the potential of this golden age of MSPs. So it should be exciting. But it's a great time to be an MSP.
How do you feel the M&A Concierge Platform will fit into this?
As this golden age, as Mike likes to call it, continues to unfold, and the market just keeps growing, there's a lot of interest from very smart money. And smart money is the term used for private equity investors. It's called smart money because private equity investors are very smart and they have a lot of money, so they call it smart money. So what's happened over the years with the MSP sector as it's evolved is, here's what the MSP industry looks like to an outsider, someone who's not in the industry, but a financial investor. They're going to say, we have a gigantic TAM. The total addressable market for MSP services it's almost incalculable. It's every company in the world. And for small to mid-sized businesses, it's every small to mid-sized business, every company under 1, 2, 3,000 employees. That's the vast majority of economic growth over the next 20 years, by the way. So it's a giant TAM, total addressable market. Second thing they see is one of the biggest problems or challenges that market has is it needs to digitally transform. That's a requirement. And in order to digitally transform, the problem that needs to be solved is making sure that their business applications are always available and always secure. And the key word is always. So MSPs are solving arguably the biggest pain point in one of the biggest industries in the world. And the way that their financial model works is it's recurring revenue with long-term contracts and pretty good margins and high net retention, meaning you don't have a lot of churn. So when you have a giant market with a big problem that is solved by something, and that something is being delivered in a recurring revenue model with good margins and low churn and high net retention being defined as expansion minus churn, you have an amazing industry. And private equity buyers are smart. They're smart money. They want to put more and more money into it. It's a high growth industry with good margins and recurring revenue. So we've seen a lot of private equity buyers, private equity money come into the space, a lot of it. And like we're going to see a lot more of it. And one of the ways that we want to help facilitate the buyers and the sellers, not just private equity buyers, but even family office buyers or local competitive buyers, people that are just rolling up in their local markets. The golden age for MSPs is not being missed by smart money. So there's a lot of M&A activity, and we think that's going to further drive the value that the concierge platform can play in that area.
Now, I know we pre-launched the M&A Concierge Platform at DattoCon last year, and we're working our way towards the official launch coming up at Connect Global as well. If you could look forward a year or more from now in a crystal ball, what would you say this is going to look like then?
I can tell you what I want it to look like, and hopefully it looks that way. So when we launched it, it was this is it's interesting. We're a software company, and we like to build great software products, integrate them, and do all kinds of cool stuff. Serving this community, serving this market is pretty neat because we have a unique relationship with our customers. We're a lot bigger than pretty much most, if not all, of our customers. If we were selling to the enterprise, that's not the case. Most software vendors are much smaller than ExxonMobil or Dutch Royal Shell or someone like that. But in this case, it's different. So that gives us the opportunity, again, to use our size and scale to help customers that are powered by Kaseya to be the best. And that's what we want. We want MSPs powered by Kaseya to be the best MSPs in the industry. So when we started the concierge, we weren't really sure about where it would go, what it would be, how many people would even be interested in it. Do we want it to be a bunch of content for people to learn? Do we want to take action and try to help people make themselves found or find others? And what do we want it to be? So like most MSPs that started their MSP years and years ago, they didn't know what they were going to become. And I think that's the same thing with the concierge platform. And here's what we've learned. We've learned by just we've learned a couple of things. One, the demand for whatever the concierge is a lot higher than what we had thought. We pre-launched DattoCon. Remember, we were in the Intercontinental Hotel in downtown Miami. And I live right down the street from there. And the room that we reserved for this was, I think, like a 250-person room, if I recall. And I think there were 400 people in it. We probably broke a fire code. Please don't tell the fire marshal. There were people standing, and Frank and I were both like, wow. And Gary, we're like, wow, and Ken, we're like, wow, this is a lot. So it really made us start thinking. We put some more resources into it. How can we make this good? And what Frank has driven, and Frank's vision has taken over. And what I think we see this as being a year from now is MSPs that are powered by Kaseya that are interested in either buying, selling, or just learning or becoming aware. The first thing is it's a great place for data and content. When I say data and content data about transactions, simple things like multiple ranges, what are the drivers around multiples, how many deals got done, just basic information, as well as video or content that became consumed to help people get a little smarter on their process. You know, a lot of people ask me that haven't done M&A, what can I do in the next 3 months to increase the value of my company? How can I make my books look really good? And I always say, dude, people who buy companies aren't stupid. You can't fool people. The best way to get the best value for your company, if you're a seller, is to have the most profit, because multiples are based on profit, not EBITDA, right? So having a section in there of what resources are available, both from Kaseya and other people, to help you juice your profit. So that's an area Frank's going into. What are things you can do to juice your profit? You can grow your top line and you can increase your margins. So there's a bunch of ways that the concierge platform is steering people to help them grow their top line, both inside of Kaseya and leveraging partners, and then ways of increasing your margins, whether it's by improving the efficiency of your technicians and your ratios of technician to endpoint or technician to revenue, as well as looking at your overall gross margins and software costs. How can an MSP prepare for that? 3 months isn't enough time. You got to have a little bit longer, but it's just opening people's eyes to it. That's another area that we were surprised, but a lot of people wanted to go there. How do I make myself the most appealing and the most valuable? On the buyer side, it's very similar. One of the things that a lot of buyers face is when you're buying companies, you can spend a ton of time and waste a ton of time dancing. You're researching stuff. You don't know who's serious, who's not. You crack open the books and things aren't what you thought. People change. There's a lot, maybe their customer concentrations are different than what you might want. There's a lot of things that buyers struggle with, because for a buyer where M&A is a part of the strategy, it's like sales. And if you talk to 10 prospects and all 10 aren't qualified, you wasted a lot of time. So MSPs that are doing M&A as a strategy, the concierge platform is incredibly helpful. We want it to be incredibly helpful. So we want to enable them to be able to build their brand in the Kaseya community with very specific attributes of the targeted MSPs that they want to build awareness to. So we're not going to be a broker. That's not our objective. But if you're Mike's MSP and you want to make 7 acquisitions this year, and here's the profile that you want to buy. You want to buy, let's say, 1 in California, 1 in London, 1 in Sydney, 1 in New York, and 1 in Chicago. And you want them all to be between $1 million and $2 million of EBITDA, and you want no customer concentration above 5%, whatever your attributes are, to be able to help that MSP identify or build their brand awareness within the customers that fit that profile in our platform. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to give them the names of all the customers, because that's violating trust and we wouldn't do it. But for the buyer, it means we can sit and we can, for example, create a webinar where that buyer builds their awareness, or request, do you want to have at one of our events, would you like to have a one-on-one with these 7 potential buyers or these 7 potential sellers, and really make it a one-to-one customized experience based on the data and the information that we have, without violating in any kind of trust or confidentiality. And we've been doing it manually, and now we're building the automation to drive some of that, to help make it work more at scale. And we want it to be a trusted place where people can go just to get smarter, and if they want to take action. So whether you're a buyer or seller, that's something that we think that's where this will go. And in Vegas, we expect to have 1,100 people at our M&A forum, 1,100 MSPs, maybe 1,500 people at our M&A pre-day. And that's, going from 250 or maybe 400 in the room, but 250 registrants in DattoCon just 6 months ago or 7 months ago, to having over between 1,100 and 1,500 people. It's a big thing. It's a hot topic, and we think we can help. think we can definitely help.
Well, Fred, final question for you. You've been at Kaseya for about 10 years now. From day one, you had a vision for the IT Complete platform we have today. So how does the IT Complete platform set up MSPs for success within the M&A Concierge Platform for MSPs?
Yeah, great question. So IT Complete is, like you said, it's our strategy. It's our platform. We think it's the best way to make sure that MSPs have the best chance to be as successful as they can. I mean, that's our job. We make a lot of mistakes. We don't do everything right, but that's our kind of vision where we want to go to. So the platform has three attributes. It's complete, contains functionality for all of the software needed for an MSP to deliver any type of managed service to its clients, also run and administer itself, run its own business. We integrated all of that technology, and those integrations combined with our AI engine allows us to provide about 350 off-the-shelf automations in the platform. We believe that those automations are allowing MSPs to operate their engineers at about a 30% more productive clip. Many of the tasks are now automated from our integrations working with our AI engine. And the third aspect of our platform is that we charge a lot less for it than what MSPs would pay if they bought 9 products from 9 vendors to do 9 different things. Charge about a third less. We do that by making engineers more efficient and by charging a lot less for the software. We believe that IT Complete allows or facilitates about a 40 to 50% profit margin increase for customers. We call that profit share. That's our strategy. That's the commercial. Now, so who cares about that? Everyone probably just fast forward and past that crap. What does that mean for the platform, for the M&A Concierge Platform? It's really simple. Many of the buyers in our platform are looking for MSPs that are on the platform because when they buy them, they can immediately integrate them. One of the things that we've spent time with our services and product teams on the platform is doing something called integration and migration services. So if I'm Fred's MSP and I'm on the platform, and let's say I'm using IT Glue and I'm using Data RMM and I'm using other aspects of our IT Complete platform, when I buy an MSP, I want to now combine the IT Glue instances. I want to integrate them, right? Going to one instance. Well, now the platform, we have technology that does that. The platform has specific engagement capabilities to help the integration as a result of an acquisition, because that's often different types of acquisitions. You're doing a PSA integration, you have to integrate billing and things like that. So those are things that make M&A difficult. I can speak firsthand. We've done a lot of acquisitions and they've all been successful, but it is not easy to make them successful. You make a lot of mistakes along the way. So one of the things that we're trying to do in the platform is to preemptively find solutions for some of the most common problems. And if there's like-to-like technologies, if someone's using IT Glue and they're buying someone who has IT Glue as an example, we can really facilitate and really help make that component of the integration easier. Another aspect of the platform is the data. The data, there's so much value in the data that every MSP generates from the technology that they're using. That data is valuable, not for resale purposes, but it's valuable because the more data that can be ingested by our AI engine, the more efficient and automated and autonomous we can make the engineer's experience. So buying like technologies, if I'm an acquirer, and let's say I'm using VSA or Data RMM, and I acquire someone using that same technology, I can ingest their data into the AI as well. And that allows even further examples of automation. So being on the Kaseya platform, not only is it great for MSPs because they're more profitable and they have more integration automation, but it makes MSPs who are looking to sell more attractive for those that are looking to buy. And that's something that we've seen very effectively in the platform, and something that Frank has been working very, very aggressively with our product and our professional services teams to make sure those facilitations happen.
Fred, again, I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your very busy day. I know you're very busy, to share with the MSP community. And for everyone watching, we thank you. And please tune in every Monday on the Kaseya YouTube channel for another episode of M&A Unpacked. And if you're not a member of the M&A Concierge Platform for MSPs, make sure to apply today. This is an amazing platform. It is 100% free for both buyers and sellers. See you next time, everyone. Thank you, Fred, and thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thanks, Mike. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.